This is an event about the loss of trust in business and how to restore it. And we've got three speakers to address this with me. One is Peter Montagnon of the Institute of Business Ethics. We have Alison Cottrell of the Banking Standards Board. And we have Robert Phillips, who's the co-founder of an organization called Jericho Chambers. For the people that are attending our event today, they're all interested in how they can ensure that their businesses have the kind of reputations that allow them to operate. And I think all of those people are interested in how we restore that trust, how we learn from each other how to do it.
It's always a good panel of speakers and you're going to get good advice.
I'm here today because I'm fascinated about the issue of trust, and for me it's pretty much at the heart of everything I do.
Welcome everyone. Thanks very much for being here today. Alison, if I can come to you, because I suppose this trust in business has been a problem for quite a long time, but the intensity of the problem we have now really dates back to 2008 and the banking crisis. And we really need to think very hard about trust and trustworthiness.
It's a combination of honesty, reliability and competence. Are you doing what you're saying you're going to do? Which comes back, and again, this is something that I'm sure will come up in our discussion, actually, what is your business for, and are you doing what you say your business is for?
I don't believe that business can be trustworthy. I believe that people can be trustworthy. And I think one of the problems is that we keep on looking for trust in business or trust in businesses, and these are abstract constructs. So we need to build new models that actually put human value before shareholder value and put people first. And if we can think about it from a personal perspective rather than an abstract corporate perspective, I think we'll be going some way towards addressing the issue.
Is this a problem of incentives and a problem of corporate goals? If we look at the Volkswagen case and their cheating on their emissions tests on their diesel cars, one of the things that we heard a lot of is engineers in the middle and lower down the organization were being pushed very hard to achieve targets. How do we address this whole question of how the corporate body, how the company establishes what goals people should achieve?
In big organisations, the values that are espoused by the leader and very visible to the workforce still need to permeate through the whole organisation, and you do need processes for doing that. We have to remember, I think, that when people are in corporate situations, working as teams with an objective, they behave differently to how they behave when they're on their own. In other words, the guard is down, however strong my personal values. And so I think that although it is about leadership, I think there is quite a big task for the leadership and for the boards to oversee is the permeation of the desired values through the organisation. And that does require some effort.
What we are doing at the Banking Standards Board is talking to staff at all levels. How do you perceive, how do you observe different characteristics that we would say are related to a good culture in the banking sector being demonstrated in your firm? A key thing here is how boards listen to what their customers, to what their stakeholders, and to what their staff are saying about what is actually happening in your business.
Robert, let's pick that up. You've worked with many, many companies over the years. What did you find them talking about?
I don't think it's possible just to give a sort of one-size-fits-all answer because some customers are rightly obsessed about customer service or customer delivery, but there are others who are obsessed about share price. But I'd like to radicalise it a bit further because I think that whilst the crisis of trust is a crisis of leadership, that should lead us to question what do we mean by leadership? And that's why CEOs need to think much more as though they're chief social activists than that they're some sort of command and control junkie sitting in their boardroom bunker. You need to think of the organisation not again as a hierarchy or as a traditional structure, but much more as a social movement in which a lot of the fluidity, a lot of the listening can take place. And that means is that some of the trust policies, if you like, are not dictated from above, but are co-produced from within.
One of the most damaging things that has happened to business is this shopping for tax around the world, for favourable tax regimes around the world.
I think the problem that we have seen is that some companies have a deliberate policy of driving the tax bill down and exploiting every possible loophole. The consequences then are serious loss of reputation.
Okay, let's open this up a bit. Are there any questions or any thoughts from any of you?
I wonder if we're aiming at the wrong target. is trust a realistic prospect in the modern world? Robert talked about us living in an activist world. I think we're not in a trust me world anymore. I think we're in a show me world.
I think we've got this incredible nostalgia about trust, which there is no return to old trust. The world has changed forever. It's not just an activist world. Trust is fragile, like so many other things are fragile, and I don't think there is any going back. My advice, therefore, is not just about trustworthiness, but let's actively embrace that fragility. Let's learn to love the complexity. Let's learn to work with the chaos. Let's understand that actually that brings whole new levels of transparency and accountability. And I think part of the problem is that we keep on trying to run away from that. The question before the panel is about the loss of trust in business. But the answer is societal and it's cultural, without any measure of doubt. And that's why it comes back to the question of leadership, not just business leadership, but political leadership. The sooner that business can skip a generation of pale male and stale leadership, the better for everybody concerned.
I think you're missing the point a bit to say, well, we need to have a new economic paradigm that drives us away from freedom, which I think is still there, and therefore we need to look at how we educate people and how we look at the economy and also politics. Absolutely,
Schooling, education, all the others have a very important role in this. However, I wouldn't want to let businesses off the hook, because we know from assorted research experiments and probably people's own experience here, people go with the flow of the organisation that they're in. So you can come from a perfectly different sort of background, move into a firm where the culture is of a different type, and because everybody else is doing this, then you go with the flow.
This brings the formal part of the proceedings to an end. Thanks very much to all of you for being here and for giving us your time. Thanks very much.
I get asked how to appear more trustworthy, and this debate was key to that. The quality of the speakers today was high, so I definitely will come again if it's like this.